Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready. We had a good class last week. Oops, somebody's coming in. Hold on.
Yay. Yeah, we did. Good. I've been putting it on my Facebook every since last week. Each week, I made a flyer.
I can actually also
hopefully
I can actually add it to Facebook Live too.
Oh, okay.
I do YouTube Live, but if you have a lot of people following you, I can see if we can add it to your Facebook Live as well.
We could try. I don't know if I mean, I'd have to look. I'm more of a oh, you did say Facebook. I'm thinking you said Instagram. Yeah, I do. Facebook. I'm much more active on Facebook. I have a wing of Instagram, and so I just usually just default into dealing with Facebook. I wish that Facebook would link over to Instagram the way Instagram can be linked over to Facebook, because that would save me a lot of angst. I'm just not that well practiced, and I've been using it for several years, but it just has a lot of features that I don't know how to navigate. So,
right. If you remind me,
hey,
I can
Michelle.
send you. Sorry. If you remind
No,
me,
it's okay. Hi, Michelle. You can send me what?
Oh, the YouTube link, so you can also post that onto your Facebook.
Okay.
Because I
do that for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You want to wait 1 or 2 more minutes, or are you ready?
Okay. Yes. We can hold just for any of these, which I'm hoping for.
Okay. Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Maybe in 1 more minute. So it's 9:02. So maybe at 9:03.
Okay.
We can start. Okay, we can go now. Thank you. Good morning, Uma friends. My name is DeJur Jones of DeJur Jones Yoga Therapeutics. I'm glad you're here. Want to always start with my precautions and suggestions especially for any newcomers. If you have any injuries, please be mindful of your body and take care of yourself throughout class. As far as if you have an injury, maybe experimenting with the shape or the pose before diving right into it, if you know it might bring you discomfort. I always use my right shoulder as an example. It was broken 20 years ago, and with rods and pins to repair it. And when teachers tell us to bring our arms back behind, the right arm does not feel the greatest. So I bring it a little bit forward to the forward edge of any discomfort. It won't be re-injured by me going all the way back. It just doesn't feel right. So I don't do that to myself. So please manage your body safety. You are your best yoga teacher. If you need a break, a water break, bathroom break, or just a short rest break, please make that happen for yourselves. We will be taking breaks together, but if you need one before that, please feel free again to tend to yourself. And what else do I want to say? I'll be offering variations of different shapes and inviting you to experiment with the different shapes, the variations, and finding of the arm or the leg, whatever that feels the best, the most therapeutic. I will be reminding you to notice the sensation over here, and you may not notice anything, and that's okay. Or it's a way for me to suggest that we keep our attention focused on what we're doing, because it's the meditative state of yoga. It is very easy for us to just daydream ourselves away to a whole nother place, even though physically we're doing the poses, etc. So I'll be cueing to notice your breath, or notice the right side of you, or the hip joint, or whatever it may be. And I think that's all. We're going to start. If you have a chair nearby, we're not going to be on the chair long. I'm actually sitting on a stool that is way too low to do a whole practice in, although I did that a couple weeks ago. But we'll start here and just sit with your feet in your version of parallel. So your feet can be together if you want them to be. I like mine separated a little for my comfort. It takes effort for me to hold them together, which is not a big deal, but sometimes that efforting is a distraction for me. So I separate my feet so the legs can just independently be comfortable. My knees are right over, are above my ankles. So the leg is actually vertical. The leg bone, the lower leg bone is actually vertical. So knees over heels. I'm going to place hands, just rest your hands, palms down on your knees or thighs. And I'd like for you to sit up really tall. So I'm on a stool, so I don't have the luxury of leaning back on anything. So this sitting up tall really calls my spine into doing its job, which is to support my upper body. And pull in your belly button a bit. We're going to do a little bit of grounding. And grounding is just a way to bring our awareness into what we are about to do. And so we leave life outside the room we're in. It will be there waiting for us to pick it right back up when we're done with our class. So first of all, noticing your hands, palms touching your knees. Notice that. And again, pulling in the belly button, sitting up tall. Shoulders right under your ears. The neck is long. So noticing your hands touching your knees, and we're going to move into noticing if you have on pants or something covering your knees, the fabric of that. It could be a skirt, it could be anything, but just noticing the fabric and rubbing your hands over that fabric, just to mixture, and then noticing if the texture is thick or thin, and smooth or rough, and just noticing whatever that is by touch. Noticing the contact of your palms to your knees or thighs, to the fabric. We will now direct our attention to the air in the room you're in. Is it cooler? Is it warmer? Is it neutral to your skin, to your temperature? Do you feel a breeze or a fan or air conditioning flow going past your skin? Can you notice that if it's happening? And we notice where our skin ends and where the air starts, the contact points of the air and the skin coming together on any parts of us that are uncovered. So I can't point down, but my legs, calves and down to my feet are not covered by my yoga pants, stop mid-calf. And so just noticing the air and the temperature of the air on the unclothed parts of you. And then we move our awareness to the sounds. We'll go with sounds since a car just went by. We'll start with sounds outside your space. Since a car just went by my window. If you hear any vehicles, trash collector, the gardeners in the neighborhood, the birds, I have some wind chimes out. They're not moving right now. So I see the leaves moving, but it's not enough flow from the air to make the wind chimes chime. Birds, children's laughter or voices, neighbors' voices or whatever. See if you hear anything outside. So we're using the sense of sound. And then we'll bring our awareness inside our space. So I'm in the room next to my kitchen. I can hear my distracting refrigerator motor. I usually don't hear it when I'm in my room in the back, but up here I can hear it. I should probably close that door, but it'll be okay. Anyway, I have a water fountain running. And that's about all I can hear from here. So now we'll look around the room and noticing all colors and textures that it took to put that room, your room together. So just have a look. I know you've been in the room a million times, but have a look as if it's your first time in the room. And you see what you notice. So we're using this sense of sight or vision here. Colors and textures. Things, the things in the room. We will now move awareness to our sense of taste. I just brushed my teeth and then I drank coffee. So I have that mint and coffee thing happening. See what you taste. You may have had a piece of fruit already or breakfast of some sort. And then we'll move to the our sense of smell. I do have a diffuser going in the back. So the scent up here is it's very light. Let's see if you notice any scent. It could be food, it could be flowers, it could be whatever. Then we'll move our awareness to our breath. So we'll be nasal breathing throughout the class. I'll be calling out at times to focus on your breath and breathe big. Okay, I don't breathe like that all day long, but there are times when I take what we call a cleansing breath or just a breath to reset myself. So we'll be using the nose, and I want to talk about the nose for just a second. You can start breathing through your nose while I explain why we do a lot of nasal breath in yoga. There is some mouth breathing, and the mouth breathing has special attributes to it too. Like there's a cooling breath called lion's breath. There's a panting breath that kind of pumps up your energy and gets a lot of gets a lot of oxygen into the blood. And then there's the purpose of the breathing that I like using, which is to help us to regulate our nervous system. There is a lot of very uncomfortable, sometimes ugly, scary things happening out in the world. And I don't want to sound like an alarmist, but just following along with different situations going on around just our country, forget about the rest of the world. It can be overwhelming to our nervous systems, and we start to get a little anxiety from it. And one way to manage that is to use your breath in a useful way, more than just staying alive by breathing. But we use the focused breath, breathing through the nose, to help us to regulate our nervous system. It helps us to keep the nervous system stable, and you can control this yourself. It's one of the few things about us that we can control is our breathing. And so it's just big, slow, long, deep inhales, and then complete exhales. And that's all it is. And so again, I don't breathe like this all day. I breathe a natural rhythm like everyone else does, but there are times throughout the day where I will stop and take a couple of big inhales and exhales just to give myself a moment and to just take a moment and do some quick mental wellness. And then I move on with whatever I'm doing. So when you breathe big, when we breathe normally, we typically stay in our chest with our inhales, and that is not a great use of the lung capacity. So for our case today, we're going to be using full breaths, as I mentioned. You'll notice your chest lift. You'll notice your torso expand outward, and that means the lungs are totally full, and the diaphragm has pushed down, which will make your belly go out more. And that's what that torso coming outward is the belly moving out of the way for the full lungs. Most of us don't breathe like that, okay? But it is very useful, because otherwise you have some old breath that sits in the lower third of the lungs. If you don't actively move that out, it is of no use whatsoever. There's no oxygen in it anymore, and it's just holding good space, wasting good space. So we want to always force that exhale all the way out to make room for a big, full, fresh breath. If that makes any sense. Couple more things about breathing. The nasal hair through the nose. The nasal hairs collect any mostly invisible debris. Sometimes we can see dust in the air, but most of the time we cannot see it. The hairs collect that and capture that and keep it from going into our lungs, which is great. It's a filtering system. And also it keeps the breath moist and warm as it goes down to the lungs, which is very helpful to the lungs. Otherwise, the lungs have to rehydrate that breath and heat it up to the correct temperature. So that's kind of putting extra work on the lungs. So these are the reasons why you do nasal breath, especially in yoga, not only nasal, but mostly nasal. In my class, it's mostly nasal. And also just out in the world of just helping us to self-regulate. So that's the long story about that's what happens when you're dealing with a yoga therapist, because we want to talk about why we're doing what we're doing. So we have an understanding of why we're here versus just going through a bunch of poses and see you later, see you next week. So let's sit again. We'll breathe, not together, but we'll take just a couple of breaths at this time. And again, slow, deep inhales, complete exhales. We're sitting up tall, shoulders are relaxed, pulling in our belly button just a little bit, helps to stabilize and turn on the abdominal muscles. So we'll take on your own count, your own fullness of breath. We will take, let's take 3 rounds, 3 cycles of breath on your own timing. Okay, and then we'll move on to the mat. I'm gonna get rid of the stool and readjust my camera. Let's see what's happening here. There. We'll sit in easy pose, which is also a cross-leg seated pose. And you have options here. You can sit with your legs, feet close to your torso, or you can push your legs and feet away from your torso. So find a position for your legs that is comfortable for you. I prefer mine up close because they offer me a little more stability and balance. We're sitting up tall. We'll start with just these are Sufi circles, not sushi, but Sufi. That's a group of mystics in Southeast Asia. They might be all over the world, but for sure Southeast Asia, because that is one of the 2 homes of yoga, Asia and in Egypt. And so these are just gentle circles. Even though the torso is doing all the moving, this is for the hips, to get the hips a little lubricated. They're called Sufi circles, Sufi rolls, or Sufi grinds. My friend Jackie, shout out to Jackie in Florida. She's a yoga teacher too. She calls them stir the pots. So I like that name better because it makes me giggle when I think about it, and I think about her when I use that. So we're just gently circling. When you lean forward, exhale your breath. When you come upright, that's the time to take an inhale. The lungs are available to be totally filled up. And hands, you can rest them on your knees, on your thighs, on the floor. Find a placement for your hands that works for you. And I want you to notice the feelings on the side rib cage as we go around and see if you feel any stretch happening. You might feel a little stretch too down by the hip joint, the muscles down near there. I just woke up about 7:30, so I'm a little bit tight still. Breathing as you circle. And then let's reverse that. Inhaling when you're upright, exhaling when you come forward. And you can go as far back as you want. So you can hang on and straighten your arms, hang on to your knees and straighten the arms as you go around. You can lean way forward if you want to get a nice stretch in the low part of the spine. You can also stay more vertical, have the circles more, have the circles smaller, where you just remaining mostly upright, but still moving the breath. So your choice to notice and decide how big your circle is. When I lean back and hang onto my knees, I feel a lovely stretch across the mid part of my back, which is called the thoracic part of the spine. The thoracic spine is where the shoulder blades are. And a little bit down from that, I also feel a nice stretch here when I hang onto my knees and lean way back. So try that out. Like I said before, you might not feel anything special about this, but just experiment so that when you do yoga in other places that you know, oh yeah, I like the way it felt when I hung onto my knees. And then we'll come back to center, sitting up tall again. Right hand touches left ear, drop your head over to the right. So we're not yanking the head, we're just allowing the weight of the right arm to gently stretch the neck a little deeper from the weight of the right arm. May feel a stretch on the left side of the neck and the top of the left shoulder. See if you notice that. We are remembering to tend to our breath while we're here. And then release the right hand and we'll change sides. And feel a rebound when you let the left side, when you bring your head up, the muscles on the left side of the neck go back to their natural spot. You can sometimes feel that sensation. We'll change. Left hand to right ear, gently allowing the left arm to put a little extra weight on the head to stretch a little deeper on the right side of the neck. See if you feel anything here. Sitting up straight, shoulders are down. Even the left shoulder, even though it's up a little, we're not holding it up by the ear. We're letting it drop. And then release. Turn your head to the right. If you want to take 3 fingers from the left hand and touch the left jawline, that's where the cheek and the underside of the chin come together. There's a bone there, jawbone. And gently add pressure. We're not forcing. We're just adding a little pressure to deepen that twist for the neck. And again, this is for the left side of the neck. Head to the right. Drop your shoulders. Take some big breaths here. Then we'll change. Turn your chin, head to the left. Right 3 fingers if you're interested in that. Touching the right jawline. Pressing gently. Sitting up. Turn and breathe. Watch, check your jaw that it's loose. We're not straining or trying to force anything. So the facial muscles are neutral. We come back to center, drop your chin to chest and hold here, and shoulders drop down as well. So looking down toward the floor, chin to chest. So this is a stretch, obviously, for the back of the neck and the muscles on the, a little bit behind the tops of the shoulders, the muscles that run up the back of the neck. And just hold here. Look towards your right, head bent forward. Look toward the left, head bent forward, and keep the breath flowing. Turn your head to the right. Noticing what stretch, where you feel the stretch. If you don't feel the stretch, it's all good. And then come back to center, bring your head up. We'll circle our heads a few times. So either direction to start. Begin sitting up tall. Bring your belly, pull your belly button in to activate your abdominal muscles. You may, I want to talk about the eyes. So some of us like to see everything that's happening, and we keep our eyes open most of the time, especially in a yoga class. You want to just be aware of your surroundings. The others can feel more comfortable closing their eyes, which always sends a more meditative state to the yoga practice. Obviously, it shuts out all the external stimuli, right? Then we have others that like a half closed lid so that some of the light is shut out, but they're not totally closed, so they feel comfortable that way. So I want you to choose the position of your eyelids as we go along. I'll remind you to open, close halfway through the class, but I want you to always choose what makes you feel the most comfortable. Let's reverse the circling. You may hear cracks in your neck. It's okay. Those are usually little gas bubbles, nitrogen gas bubbles that get trapped around our body and our joints that pop from time to time. So we'll come back to center, turn your head to the right and look up and down. So I hear a lot of crunching. None of it is painful though, but it is noisy. Sometimes one side is noisier than the other side. It just depends. And the next time, the other side could be louder than the other side. So it's, it's the human body. Things change from hour to hour, if not minute to minute. And then hold your head, look down toward the right, toward the floor. Smooth breath, sitting up tall, relaxed shoulders. And then let's turn the head over to the left side, looking up and down a few times. Just see where you notice any sensation of stretch or lengthening, muscles lengthening. Breathing through the nose, check your jaw again and facial muscles, that they're neutral and sweetened. We're not frowning or grimacing. We're just, if you want to smile, I'm not saying smile. But if you feel like that, you can curl the corners of your mouth up if you want to. And then let's look down toward the left, drop the shoulders, drop the shoulder blades and hold here. And then lift your chin and come back to stillness. Let's extend the legs and shake them out a little bit. So windshield wiper your feet, and you can shake out your arms. So from here, we will recross the legs. If you remember which one was in front or on top, put the other one in front or on top. It might be the one that feels a little awkward. That's usually how I can tell. I usually cross my legs, I believe, the left leg in front of the right as my first, just naturally. And so when I cross it to the other leg, it feels a little different. It feels a little awkward because it's not the dominant side of me crossing. So just use the other side. We're going to do some twists. So I want you to bring your left hand back behind you and bring it as far over to the right hip as you can. I'm going to turn around so you can see what that looks like from the back. So it looks like this. Okay. So that's the wrap. We're wrapping the left arm around us from the back, reaching toward the right hip joint. So you may feel a stretch on the left shoulder cap. Right hand touches left knee and twisting to the left. Okay. Sitting up as straight as you can and dropping the shoulders. You may move your head from side to side if you want to, or leave it in one position that you choose. So traditionally, we are twisting to the left. We would traditionally turn our chin toward our right shoulder, but this is an accessible class. So we position our head wherever it feels the best. This twisting, the traditional twist might be too much on some of our necks. And so we don't, again, we don't want to cause any pain unnecessarily. So we find a position for the head that's beneficial to us, therapeutic to us. Or you may move your head from side to side. Sitting up tall, moving the breath. So I have us hold these shapes because sometimes the muscles initially resist and struggle and fight and wonder why you're doing this to them. And then eventually they surrender, they let go. And that's where the stretch or the lengthening happens. So come back to center and notice how your left arm feels. So we come back to the middle. So just hold here for a couple breaths. Sit up tall. So I feel the rebound is when the muscles go back to where they should be on my left shoulder blade from that that was the place where I felt the most sensation. So we'll bring the right hand all the way over near the left hip as far around as you can get it. Okay, let's sit with that and feel the stretch for the right shoulder cap. Just notice that. So if you work at a desk or table or sitting all the time at work, wherever in front of, you have seamstresses out there and tailors, don't want to leave out the men. But doing these kind of twists is really beneficial throughout your workday. Then we'll left hand to right knee, and we'll twist to the right. And again, sitting up tall. And see what you feel in that right shoulder joint, right shoulder blade, and you may either traditionally look over the left shoulder. Accessibly, you can move your head to wherever it's comfortable or move it back and forth, your choice. So I feel a lot more feedback in my right shoulder blade than I did in the left shoulder blade. There's nothing wrong, it's just an observation. So hold here and breathe, smooth, controlled breath. Long, slow, and deep inhales, and then totally, completely letting all the air out on your next exhale. And then come back to center. Notice how the right arm feels when we unravel that. Let's sit with that for just a couple breaths. And then extend your legs, shake them out. I'm going to recross and put the other leg, the first leg in front, back in front. So recross your legs. Bring the left arm out, straight out from the shoulder. So we don't want the left hand back behind us. We don't want to lean back and have the left hand in front of us. We want to use the left arm as a kickstand. So this is a side stretch. Keep the right butt glued to your, not a stretch anymore. So may have to come up a little bit with the left hand in order to stay with both sit bones on your mat. Inhale, bring the right arm up and over. Exhale, bring the right arm down. We'll do 3 rounds of this. Inhale, right arm up and over. Exhale, right arm down. I forgot to mention, keep the left or the right shoulder gonna want to cave in just because it's comfortable like that. And one more, inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, and then we'll switch sides. So the right hand straight out from the right shoulder. Inhale, lift the left arm up and over. When you do these side stretches, really reach far with the fingers on the top arm, whatever arm is on top. Exhale, down. 2 more, inhale, lift. Reach to the right. Exhale, down. And 1 more, inhale, lift. Move on back to side 1. So left hand comes down, right arm up and over. Inhale. 3 more cycles. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Lift. Exhale, both arms up, going back to side one. Exhale the arm down. Inhale the arm up. This is number 2. Exhale, left arm down. Inhale, left arm up and over. And then come up, both arms. Inhale, we're going to forward bend. So hands, flat palms, fingers spread down in front of you. You can reach far away from your legs, or you can stay more upright. The farther away that you reach is a deeper stretch for the low back and the hip joints. Look down toward the floor. You may also have access to your forearms down. You can try that if you have access to that. Palms flat, fingers spread. Look down toward the floor. Take some breaths here. Seated forward bend, cross-legged seated forward bend. So this is a stretch for the back of the thighs, the buttocks, and the low part of the back, the lumbar part of the spine, which is the lowest curve. We have a curve in the cervical spine, the neck. The second curve in the spine is the lumbar spine. Looking down toward the floor. Continue your breath. It's kind of hard to breathe like this, but do the best you can. And then let's walk hands to the right. So forward bending now, side stretch. Hands to the right, palms flat. And then let's go to the left side. Walk your hands over to the left. Look down at the left knee. And then come back to center. And then inhale yourself upright. Walk your hands back. Let's extend the legs and shake them out again. Arms too. Soles of the feet touch. And here, if you have some books, let me grab the blocks. You have rolled up towels, 2 towels that you roll up. You can use the blocks to support this shape. This shape is called butterfly. Some instructors call it cobbler, as in shoemaker. Shoemaker, not peach cobbler, but shoemaker pose, cobbler pose. And then you can use the blocks to allow the legs to rest on, or rolled up towel that you have at home. You can also use 2 stacks of books. You can use, if you have shoe boxes, you can put shoe boxes under. You don't have to run out and buy anything for yoga. So this is called butterfly. It's a inner hamstring stretch. These muscles get very little attention unless you're, a dancer, a gymnast. Normally these muscles don't get stretched at all. So they get tight, and they get tighter and tighter with inactivity. So these, there's some poses in yoga that stretch these muscles. And also this is a hip opener. So your feet you can use a little attention on bringing the soles of the feet to touch, or you can let the feet open like a book. So where the blade end of the feet are the only part that's touching, your choice. The feet together takes a little more effort, not a big deal, but it's just a preference. Do what you like. So we'll sit here, sitting up tall. You can hang on to your ankles a little bit to pull you upright. Drop your shoulders, chin to chest. We'll circle the head again here. And then reverse the circle. And then we're going to move into table. So there's a couple of ways I want to show you, just so you have a choice. If we were sitting cross-legged, you just roll over on your knees into table. Or if that's too much for your knees, just swing the feet in the same direction and come up to table shape. So this is called tabletop. Some teachers call it box pose, table pose, or box pose. And we'll do some spine awakening called cat-cow. So the hips and the knees are in a vertical line. The arms are in a mostly vertical line. If a vertical line is too much pressure on your wrist, then push your hands away from your knees just a little bit and see if that helps with the pressure. Palms are flat and fingers are spread. Tailbone up, arch your back, your belly's hanging toward the mat. Chest lifts, chin lifts, and hold here. This is the cow of the cat-cow. We can also do this pose in chair, seated cat-cow, same thing. And let's hold here, keep your breath moving. We're allowing the low back to release a little bit by arching the back, letting the belly just release and hang, pressing into the mat, lifting the chest and lifting the chin. Breathe while we're here. And then let's reverse that into the scary Halloween cat. Exhale, spine lifts, chin to chest. Hold here, pressing into the mat. So this pressing into the mat, like intentionally pressing in, is you're activating the muscles in the arms. So they're getting a toning, even though they're not our focus point. Then let's reverse, inhale and hold in cow. See if you feel anything different in your spine. These are excellent to do the minute you wake up, is to roll out onto your floor and do a few of these to get that spine moving in the morning. Exhale, reverse into cat. Then we'll do these in real time. So I want you to do these with your own cycles of breath. Inhaling, coming up, coming into cow, and then exhaling to cat. Do 5 cycles on your own and using your own, the fullness of your own breath. Our lungs are all different capacities. So do 5 on your own, and then we'll move on. After number 5, we're moving into downward dog. So let's just hold here. Curl your toes under and lean back a little bit. Let's stretch the feet out a little. For some, this could be excruciating. I used to hate this in my beginning yoga years when my teacher would prompt this. She would have us sit up like this on our toes. It felt like I was having needles stuck into my feet. I finally got accustomed to it because my feet, the muscles there stretched out and got over it. But I just want you to press back so it's not so intense. Just hold here, take a couple more breaths. And then we're going to inhale, lift the tush up toward the sky. Separate your feet to your comfort, depending on whatever that is. Try out different distances of your feet from one another. Try to lower the heels. You don't have to touch the floor, but we're not on tippy toes here. Just hold here. This is down dog. Take some breaths. The yoga books tell me that this is one of the 4 resting poses of yoga. I do not believe that, but that's what the books say. Hold and breathe. This is also an inversion pose, and I'll talk about that when we come up. So walk hands back towards your feet, bend your knees. I'm going to hang here for just a couple breaths. This is a standing forward bend. This is also an inversion, so you can hang onto the back or wrap the hands around the back of your, be your knees. You can hang onto the calves, hands around the ankles, hands on the floor. You decide. Fingertips on the floor, palm on the floor, you decide. This is a stretch for the entire back body. And we're going to walk our way up our legs to standing. Take a breath in. And let's wait in mountain pose. It looks like this. This is one of the other resting poses of yoga, one of the other four. The other two are child's pose and what's the other one? Corpse pose. All right, so inversions are when your when your head is lower than your heart. Makes it easier for the heart to pump blood because it's working with gravity instead of against gravity. So these are really nourishing when you're feeling droopy in the middle of your day. When you feel like you have no energy, that slump. If you do any standing shape, you can just lean forward, you can put your hands on a chair. Also, heart equal to head level is also an inversion. Put your butt on a wall or door and go all the way down and use the wall or door for support. So again, using yoga as a therapy system. Instead of, I love coffee, instead of grabbing another coffee, doing one of these inversion poses and throughout my day to just revive me. Okay, so that's the talk on the lecture on yoga inversions. Feet wide apart, turn the right foot to the right. So the feet works are where they were parallel. So 10 toes going the same way. Then we're going to turn the right toes out, arms in a T shape. So this is the setup for triangle pose. Reaching the right fingers to the right and the left butt the opposite way. Reaching, and then dropping the right hand either above the right knee or below the right knee, or down along the shin or around the ankle, or all the way down to the floor. This would be also a good place if you had books or the shoebox I mentioned or a block. Not everyone has these laying around the house, but you could use a block to bring the floor up to your hand. Okay. So this is obviously a stretch for the left side rib cage. You feel that lengthening there. The backs of both thighs and also the inside of the right thigh is getting a stretch. You can put your left hand on your hip and hold. Traditionally, we would look up. That's allowed. You can also bring the left arm straight up. Your choice. On the hip or straight up. Anyway, we look up to the left in a traditional triangle. That might be too much for your neck. Look out or look down toward the right. Breathe through your nose and inhale, come up to center, turn the right foot in, turn the left foot out. Same setup, arms in out horizontally, reaching with the left hand, right butt goes the opposite way, and then tip over, hand above the left knee or below the left knee, anywhere along the shin, down to the ankle to the floor, flat palm or fingertips, your choice, or a block. A right arm straight up or not on your hip, your choice. See if you feel a stretch on the inside of the left thigh now. Both legs are straight. Breathe through your nose. You can look down toward the left foot, out to the horizon, or up. Traditionally, we would look in this shape, up to the right. Hold here and breathe. And let's inhale, come up. 10 toes pointing together. We're going to stand in mountain pose for just a second. See if you feel any different the inside of the thighs. You may feel the same. Inhale, bring your arms up. Feet are parallel, comfortably distanced from one another for your body. Grab your your left wrist with the right hand and exhale to your right. And hold here. Keep the left shoulder pulled back. Inhale to center, swap wrists. So now the left hand's grabbing the right wrist. Exhaling to the left. Trying to give that right arm a pull, right wrist a pull to get a deeper stretch on the shoulder blade, right shoulder blades and right side body. Inhale to center, change the wrist and hand. Exhaling to the right. Pulling a little bit on the left wrist. Get a deeper stretch. Inhale, up, change wrist and hand. Exhale. And we'll do one more inhale up to center, change wrist and hand. Exhale. And then swan dive the arms down. Exhale. See how your side body feels, see how the arms feel. So coming back to separate your feet a little more. Bring your hands into prayer. Take a breath in. Interlace your hands, push your hands away from you. That's an exhale. Inhale the arms up, palm to the ceiling. Exhale, release the arms behind you on an angle. We did these, I think, last week in the chair, I think. Inhale, hands in front of your heart. Exhale, push. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Arms are on a diagonal behind you. So that's a good stretch for across the chest and the shoulder caps again. Inhale, hands in front of your heart. Exhale, push. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Anjali Mudra is prayer hands in Sanskrit. Inhale here. Exhale, push. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Hands to prayer. Inhale. Exhale, push. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, prayer hands. This is the last set. Push. Inhale up. Exhale, release. And then hands in front of your heart, come back into mountain pose. We'll shift our weight over to the left leg. We'll do some tree balances. So all the weight is over to the left. Baby tree, so the feet are parallel. Baby tree is just lifting the right heel and balancing on the left leg. You can also turn the right knee out and slide the sole of the right foot to touch the inside left ankle. It's also baby tree. A little more. Pull in your belly button. Inhale, bring the right foot to touch the left calf. Some of you may bring the right foot. I have trouble with this one still because my foot always slides off, but you can bring your right foot up to your left thigh. So I can do it hanging on, but if I let go, my foot will slide off. So try this one. Some of you may be able to cross the right ankle on the left thigh, and you may be able to let go of that. I can't do that, but we're just here to do the best we can. So belly button in, we're moving the breath. I'm gonna stick with the baby tree for now. I wanna show you some hand shapes, prayer hands, prayer hand behind you. Fingers up, prayer hands behind you, fingers down, touching knuckles, grabbing elbows. Okay, from the front, you can have the arms sort of like corpse pose arms or mountain pose arms, out vertically, horizontally, palms up or down, up like a funnel, palms up, prayer hands above your head. So those are a bunch of arm variations. You choose which one you like and you can move through. You can do whatever you want because it's your yoga class. Try that. Then we'll shift sides. So shifting all the way to the right leg. You can start with just lifting the left heel onto the ball of the left foot. You can turn the left knee out. And bring the left foot to the right calf. And bring the left foot to the to the thigh, inside the right thigh. You can hold on to that shape or you could let it go. And also cross the left ankle in front of the right thigh. Hold it or let it go. And then choose the hands and arms. So they say that yoga balance poses help us to be balanced when we're out living our lives. So that is why we do balance poses in yoga. Left foot down, and then let's do some twist and tapping your body. Wherever your hands touch, doesn't matter. Breathing. I'm going to move back down onto the floor, onto the mat for final rest. So you have a couple of choices. You can lay flat out on your back. That is traditional corpse pose. For some of us, it's too vulnerable and uncomfortable. For some of us, also, our low back is too tight to sustain that. So for the low back challenged, you bring your feet flat on the floor and let your knees fall together. So that takes pressure off the low back. If you're feeling more comfortable, you may bring your knees up to your chest and turn over to either side. It doesn't matter. It's called a side Shavasana or side corpse pose. The knees stay bent so that it helps you stay balanced and you can relax into the shape. So that's the other option. You may also do Shavasana sitting up. It's your choice. So Shavasana is the time where we allow the body to assimilate all the energy that we've stirred up from our yoga class. That's the basic description. And it's just a letting go. You don't have to do anything but breathe well. See if you notice any changes in your being, your emotion, how things feel. If you feel a little more settled or less stressed if you were stressed. Checking in on the breath, smooth and easy breathing. Settling into the earth, just allowing all your muscles and joints to let go. Noticing the contact points of you and whatever you are touching, the floor, carpet, yoga mat, whatever. Noticing where you're touching something else. Placement of your hands. If you're on your side, come onto your back just for a second. Next breath in, next inhale, bring your arms up over your head and take a big stretch. You may just stretch, or you may also move your wrists and ankles in circles. You may point and flex your feet. You may flex and release your fingers, or just a basic stretch. It's all good. Exhale, bring your knees to chest, turn onto one side, and then come upright to seated. And I will leave you with this. May your life be happy. May your life have meaning. and may you be an instrument for social change. Thank you so much for coming to class. Drink a little bit extra water than normal today. Hope that you feel the effects of our yoga practice together for, if not the rest of the day, the next 2 days would be awesome. And I will see you back in 1 week next Wednesday. Thank you so much.